to burnout is from decision fatigue. When you start hiring people and you start having multiple things happening within your business and you're growing and things like that, you start realizing that you're making all the decisions, right? You're bottlenecking your business. It can no longer grow because everything is passing through you, right? Which is what you were saying. Like if you are constantly answering questions, especially the same questions, or you're the final decision for the same things, there's probably a process that you can put into place. And so I wanted to kind of like dive into that process and system speech a little bit. So there's a huge difference between this is the process on how to physically do something. And when we say processes and systems, yes, you need to have direction so that somebody can come in and work your CRM, right? That definitely is a technical process that has to be in place. People cannot just come into your business and know what they're doing. You need to have that in place. So that is one type of SOP. But then you have the way that you're going to operate, right? And so when you're creating something that's not technical, but like a process in which a lead. So I'm going to refer back to, because I was like literally thinking about this a lot because I've had this conversation a lot lately. So one of the biggest things that like we hear over and over again, just most recently in some of the groups and conferences that I've been to, is like, how do you create KPIs for salespeople and then hold them accountable to that, right? And it starts by having a process. But when we say you need to have a process, so say you need a follow-up process, or we'll do a follow-up process. The lead comes in, there's a process for it. The process says you start with A and you're going to get to Z, right? Like you have to be able to get from here to here, and you're going to provide a guideline, right? And the guideline is going to be structured enough that somebody can sit down and be like, okay, on a day-to-day basis, I know I'm going to follow this linear line, right? I'm going to do this whole thing, but I'm going to leave that guideline for this person a little more flexible so that if something arises that doesn't hit A, B, and C, they know how to handle those carve-outs. That is where you want to get with your processes and procedures in the operational aspect, not technical aspect, right? Your employees need to be able to know what that linear line looks like, be able to adjust it to some variations without having to stop and ask you what to do every time. If they are stopping to ask you what to do every time, your structure, your process needs adjustment. Somewhere along the lines, you were not clear enough for them to be able to take actions without you. Now, there are plenty of times that there's going to be something that's really off. It doesn't fall within these guidelines that they're going to come to you and be like, I am unsure how to handle this. That is when you're going to introduce the 1-3-1 process. It is so important that you teach your employees the 1-3-1 process. I cannot even begin to tell you how important that is.